Merry Christmas, baby. Reindeer's coming out to play. Santa Claus is packing the presents, making sure you've been behaving okay.
Hello, everyone. This is Christina Werner, and welcome to day 11 of the holiday card series. I'm going to be using the Nordic Noel dies from Consortium today. I love this design of this die. I thought it'd be beautiful. And I'm going to be using these pattern papers from Craft Consortium. This is the Ink Drops Rose 6x6 pad. Look at all of these gorgeous patterns. Now, I was thinking I might have to wait to use these until Valentine's Day, but then I thought, you know what, I could use kind of the reds and purples for Christmas. I think it would be beautiful. So I'm kind of thinking in the back of my mind at this point, like, which one do I want to use? And I couldn't decide. So I set them aside for a little bit until I've done my die cutting, and then I'll decide. So I'm going to use just the two large interior pieces for the Noel. I'm not going to be using the outer kind of like shadow layer. I'll use that for placement later, but for now I just die cut out of white cardstock the Noel, and then the 3 accent dies I'm using on some matte gold cardstock from Simon Says Stamp. So I ran that through my die cutting machine, and then I corralled all these very tiny die cuts into a dish. I find that this is a really great thing to do when you're dealing with lots of little tiny pieces. Just go ahead and put them in a dish or some sort of box or something to help contain them on your craft surface. So I got all of those into that dish, and then I prepped my white die cuts. I just used the pick and stick tool from Gina K Designs just to pick out all of those little interior pieces. And then I'm going to take these 2 white die cuts and I'm going to start placing them on top of some of that pattern paper just to sort of get an idea and see which pattern I wanted to use. These 6x6 pads are gorgeous. I have the 12x12 versions as well, and the patterns are so beautiful. They sort of make a statement when you use them. So you kind of have to pick and choose which one you want to use. That one wasn't looking quite right. I'm going to test another one here, which wasn't looking quite right also. Eventually, I landed on one that was almost leaning more toward purple. It's got this beautiful red and then into the purple. Not as much gold on this, but I thought the pattern was beautiful. And all of those patterns resemble alcohol ink backgrounds. So if you don't have this pattern paper, make yourself an alcohol ink background. It would be absolutely beautiful. I'm using some Tombow Extreme adhesive to adhere the pattern paper directly to a card front. This is an A2 card, so it is 4 1/4 inch wide by 5.5 inches tall. So I just place that down right onto my card front. Now, to get the positioning of these 2 die cuts just right, I thought might as well use that other die. So I'm going to temporarily place this onto the front of my card, and I'm going to tape these down with a little bit of very, very low tack tape from Simon Says Stamp, just going to hold it in place while I glue my die cuts. Holding my die cut with some tweezers, and then I'm applying some Gina K Connect glue onto the back of each one of these die cuts, and I went around each of the little interior cutouts. I wanted to make sure that everything was adhered and would stick down and not peel up or move after I had adhered it and pressed it down. So now I can press that right down into the inside of that die, and this just helps me get the positioning just right on my card. I'm going to do the exact same thing with the other die cut, add a little bit of glue on the back, and then use my tweezers to hover it over that area and then press it down. I really love how simple this card is and how it's coming together so quickly. So I'll remove that die, and then I can place some acrylic blocks over the top just to hold that in place. So they did dry under the acrylic blocks, and then I got out all my gold pieces and prepped them for adhering. Now, to make it easier on myself, I flipped them all over so they were face up, and then I added a little tiny bit of glue in each area. Now, there are not gold accents for every single cutout. It only cuts out the flower shapes the two leaves that are together, and then the larger dots. So the smaller dots and also those kind of teardrop shapes, those do not have gold accents. If you wanted to add some cardstock or color in those areas, you would have to die cut the Noel again out of those other colors, which is not the end of the world because then you could use those for other projects. So I put that glue in each one of those areas, and then I used the wax end of this pick and stick tool from Gina K Designs to just pick up each one of these die cuts and transfer it over to my project. This worked out so well. I've just been in love with this tool from Gina K Designs. I used one when I was with a crafty friend recently. I used hers and I was like, I need this. So I picked it up a few weeks back and I have been using it almost on every single card. It's great for sequins. It's great for small die cuts like this. It just works extremely well. And I love that it's got the pointy end on one end and then it has that wax tip on the other end. So I love those little gold accents on this die cut. To make this card look a little bit different, I'm going to be rounding the two outer corners, just the top and bottom on the right side. And then I thought it would be nice to have a secondary greeting. So I'm grabbing this sentiment strip set called Reverse Love, Peace, Joy from Simon Says Stamp. And I trimmed out one of the greetings that says thinking of you this Christmas. And I'm going to be adhering these to the front of my card. Now, to make them look like I used black cardstock and then there's white writing on it, I took a black brush tip marker and just painted the edges of each one of these strips. And then put some foam adhesive on the back and then used my tweezers to place each section of the greeting right over top and had them kind of staggered right over the L here on my card. So that finishes up the card for today. I think I spent about 18 minutes making this card. This would be a great one to duplicate for all of your many cards that you have to send during the holiday season because it's so easy to put together. It'd be really, really fast to duplicate and use all those beautiful pattern papers you might have in your stash. Thanks so much for watching today. This was day 11. I will be back very soon with day 12. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.